Hello and welcome back to Dare and Doing. I'm Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben, what?
I hate it. I hate it here.
Can't do this anymore,
Why
mate.
can't we have any
Can't
night?
do
Why
this
can't we
anymore.
just make it fucking simple?
We give and we give to this football club and we get nothing back.
Yeah.
At least we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? At least we have each other.
Yeah, I'm rapidly exactly. Yeah. God, if we didn't have this, fucking hell. I'm rapidly falling out of love of football, to be honest. I feel physically sick, to be honest.
It's like, thing is, we're going to get into the game, obviously, but were you shocked?
What happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not to the point where it was like, I thought we were behind all this. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've been here before, haven't we? But
yeah,
we obviously, we know the evidence is in front of our eyes, obviously, yesterday, that we've still got this in us, 100%. But I was shocked because it just, I thought it was pathetic. Genuinely
pathetic.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not a ranty person. I'm not like someone that will just go, "This is a disgrace." But yesterday, that was just embarrassing. Because it was just, we just came out of a cigar in the second half and a pair of slippers. That's just not good enough. Like you can't, you can't believe your own hype in the way that we did yesterday. Like we just can't afford. You can't do that. You can't do that. We played so well again, and it's been a long time. Obviously, I don't know. I can't remember exactly the stats. Some people in the comments, and you might know, to be fair, like in terms of best winning run since X, best winning away run since X. Like it's all the Poch era, so it's like a long time now. Obviously, since we've kind of done that 1-5 on a bounce or whatever. Actually, did we do it last season? Do we win 5? Must have won 5 on a bounce in that run, surely, under Ange.
Possibly, but we drew.
The Arsenal game was in the middle of it, so we probably didn't, did we?
Yeah, we drew, didn't we? With Arsenal, we drew with Brentford. And then we lost against Chelsea, so possibly not.
Possibly not. But yeah, I think it's one of our best winning runs in a long time. Like, it was flowing like it used to, and it was just like we're turning up thinking that we're going to win like it used to.
Yeah, I was so confident.
I was really confident. And again, like the thing is, you can never be too confident against Brighton because you give them an inch and they've got the players that will punish you, and that's what we saw yesterday, especially with Matoma. Matoma is a top.
Oh my god, he's fucking incredible.
When Werner went through in the first minute, and you thought, "Wish that was him."
yeah.
Really wish that was Matoma. I mean, Werner did all right.
But do you reckon Werner looked at Matoma and was just like, "What the fuck?
What
like,
is that?
What is he
winger
doing with his feet? His feet are working in tandem with his head. His brain, like, what?
A step over? What is his witchcraft?
He's finding a man in the box?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And he can do it with the outside of his foot and on his left? What's happening here? What is happening?
What is happening?
What is happening? But to be fair, I actually thought Werner was not that bad, to be fair. Yesterday. He wasn't the problem. The attack wasn't the problem. We know the problem. I mean, there was a lot of problems, but I was shocked. I was shocked because, like I said earlier, not that I thought we were past it because we're Spurs, so we are, mate. But that was really bad. And Ange said it was the worst defeat since he's been here. And again, some of Ange's comments when you read it on the surface yesterday, I understand why people are a little bit like, "What the fuck are you talking about, mate?" One about substitutions, which I've got an opinion on, which we should talk about. And
yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit.
And when he was talking about the worst defeat, I think he's right, because there have been games where we've just been battered, and it's almost like that you can go away when you get battered, you can go back to the drawing board and learn and go like, okay, right. Newcastle, for example, was terrible like last year, obviously, and at the time, it felt like really, really bad, and obviously it was really bad. But at least with those kind of batterings, and don't get me wrong, I wouldn't rather us get battered every week, but at least you can sort of go like, this is what went wrong, and this is how we fix it. Whereas that yesterday, how do you explain that?
Complete and utter capitulation, wasn't it? Like, I think it was the worst because of the contrast. It was like to the extreme, wasn't it? From one of our best performances in 45 minutes, and keeping Brighton at bay for the most part as well, and they're a really strong attacking side. So then, do you know what? It was like Ange Postecoglou went into the half time, and Ryan Mason passed everyone around a brownie, and he was like, treat yourself, lads. It was
Yeah,
great performance, well played. And then we come out tripping balls and just fucking completely. I've never seen a switch off like that in my I know we've had some shockers down the years from Spurs, but that I can't remember the last time we were playing so. Maybe West Ham under Mourinho. Remember that when Lanzini scored the last minute? It was like on that level, but at least we got a point.
Yeah.
Like I know we were 3-0 up, but it was like the complete and utter capitulation. And when Minter scored, you were like, "Fuck, seen this before, haven't we?" Like, fucking hell, that's quite early in the second half that to concede.
It's coming.
And then the Rutter one, you're like, "Fucking hell, they just cut through us like a knife through butter." And then the Welbeck one, you were just like, "Fucking just knew that was going to happen."
The Welbeck one was an actual disgrace. Like, because
it was shit.
The second goal, it was like, it's actually a really good goal from Brighton, and in the kind of context. But the thing is, when you're collapsing, it's like it's not a good goal. You know what I mean? It's not like it. Yeah. When you actually watch it back, they played well. It was good football. Can Van der Ven get across to Rutter quicker to block the shot? Maybe. Should have Doggy and Van der Ven allow Rutter in between them? Maybe. But the thing is, the frustrating thing about all three goals, and this is why I don't blame Ange yesterday, is that all three of those goals are not systematic problems. They're not down to the way that we play, not down to the way that we're coached. No one is taking any responsibility or accountability at the back there, especially the third goal. The third goal is embarrassing.
Yeah,
absolutely embarrassing. Bentancur, I don't know what the fuck he was doing on the byline. Because he read it. He read the danger. It was like, shit, let me go and stop the cross. Just bottled it. He just literally just bottled it. I don't know what. I can't explain it. Like, again, like I was doing my video earlier and I was like, fuck it. This is just going to be a ranty one. Because I'm like, usually, like, I will pull up all load of screenshots and all the different things. So maybe this is why it went wrong. Like, or in the first half, this is like, or if we're not playing quite well, this is why it wasn't quite clicking, or this is what we were doing well. In the first half, we saw with our own eyes how good we've been. All of the things that we've been saying for the last 6 weeks. No, it's coming together. It's coming. And it came. It came big time yesterday in the first half. Big loads. And it was like, I don't need to, as like someone's making a video about it, I don't need to tell you that. I don't need to show you that because we didn't learn anything from that. That's what's been coming. And again, in the second half, it's not like, I literally just like, let's look at the goals because they are all avoidable and all unacceptable. It wasn't like it was anything momentum leading to that. It wasn't like, oh, we've been warned. Like, I mean, there was a couple in the first half where like Matoma put in that cross and Romero just doesn't decide to go with Welbeck and he nearly scores.
Yeah.
But for the most part, we were really comfortable. Bentancur got caught in possession a couple of times, but it was like, they're Brighton, great press inside. Us playing out from the back can happen. Fine. Didn't think anything of it going into the second half at all. I was like, right, more of the same, please. And it wasn't like, you know how United a week ago where we were only 1-0 up, and even though they had 10 men, you're like, we've got to kill this off, got to get the second. And it's like, we got the second.
I know, against a bit of momentum, a little bit of momentum as well, and we got the second.
Exactly. And it was just
get from Brighton, I mean.
Yeah, and we went and got the second goal, and we could have had a third, and we played really well, and it was like, okay, fine. All three of those goals are not systematic defensive problems. They're not. You look at the build-up to all three of them. The positioning is good. We shouldn't be. And the last one, to concede a goal from a throw-in like that, when you've got everybody back on your own, other than Solanke, I think maybe, and maybe it wasn't Solanke, I can't remember. Basically, everybody back in your own box or on the edge of your own box is just unacceptable. Like, just generally unacceptable. Ball watching, everybody ball watching. Bentancur goes out to try and start. It was just pathetic from Spurs.
Yeah, I think it was one of those games where after you turn the TV off and you're just confused. You're pissed off, but you're really confused because it wasn't like we. Yeah, you just need to end the day and just wake up in the next morning. Even then, you're still trying to digest what happened. I mean, it's because we played so well. It was such a complete dominance in the first half. That's to try and like digest what actually happened. You got to tackle this like shit show from two halves, because it's not like we went out from the beginning and we just got absolutely bent over from the get-go. We actually played some of our best football, and then all of a sudden, that half time, I don't know what was said at half time. I don't know what was said in the Brighton change room either. They come out absolutely flourishing, because I was thinking, this could be like 4-0 here. This could be like 5-0 at half time. Like, oh my God, Johnson scoring again. Madison like flourishing. Kulusevski and Dom Solanke were like sensational. And then, but I mean, I think it just comes down to a few things. I think one, the mentality is the biggest issue. This is where we've struggled for years. When the going gets rough, we go hiding or we switch off and we're a shadow of ourselves. And the home crowd we collapsed due to the pressure of the home crowd, and it was a little bit like Leicester. But Bentancur took one for the team and got KO'd against Leicester, and it killed all momentum they had.
Where was that yesterday?
Bentancur, mate, just head the crossbar or something, and just like take a breather, 15 minutes.
Like I don't. The game.
Bentancur's like, why do I always have to get fucking concussed? Why can't someone else sacrifice himself? But I mean, I just there was no. That's another thing actually. I know Bentancur didn't mean to get KO'd against Leicester, but someone just, do you know, against Arsenal, we all took the piss against Arsenal, against Man City.
Go down.
And I know they ended up 1-1. They drew the game, but there is an art and there is a skill in time wasting to kill any momentum of the opposition had, to kill any buzz of the home crowd. That stuff you have to do. Slow the game down. Really, really slow that comeback down, and then you can get hold of the game. Then you can reset and someone needs to do that. But I just don't think we're like that under Ange. I don't think Ange wants to just keep playing football. He hates that sort of stuff for the game.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes, especially against teams like Brighton away, it's just something you need to do in football sometimes. And that's what mature teams do. I mean, City would have done that if they were under pressure. Arsenal definitely do that. They do that when they're at home, for fuck's sake. So I don't know. But let's tackle it from two halves. What was working in the first half that we lost in the second?
Intensity.
It's so hard, isn't it?
It's really hard. Like first half, again, pressing was great. Exploiting of the high line was great. All the things that we talked about before the game, it was there. We just watched it. It was, it was like, this is exactly what we wanted to happen. This was exactly how we thought we could get at Brighton. They're a really good pressing side, and we played out well from their press for the most part. They left gaps. We exposed those gaps. We scored 2 really good goals from runs in behind. And dominated the football. I think they had about 60% possession in that first half. Yes, they had a couple of chances, but it's Brighton, it's Matoma. They're going to cause you problems. I don't have an issue with that. Just a real lack of intensity in everything and aggressiveness that just went out the window in the second half. It just, genuinely quite inexplainable. Really, I don't know. I don't know. It was. I mean, to lose 3 goals in the space of 20 minutes like that, it's got to be down to just wilting and just the lack of leadership and mentality, and just that can't happen. It can't. Like I said, all 3 goals I think were avoidable, and we just I think believed our own hype too much a little bit. And it was like, no, we've won 5 in a row. We're a fucking good team, and we'll go out and we'll win the second half, not a problem. 2-0 up, scored 2 really good goals. Again, the relationship that's forging between Kulusevski and Johnson is a beautiful one. Kulusevski was excellent in that first half. Solanke was excellent as well, I thought. Didn't put a foot wrong in the whole game. Only had 5 touches in the second half, 4 of which were from kickoff. Like, fuck me. Like, that's just
like Gabby Bonlahor levels.
Yeah, literally. So, and that was against Tottenham, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure.
I can't remember. I think it was like he had 2 touches in the whole game, and both of them were kickoffs.
Yeah, just, I don't know. Just real.
Yeah. Well,
just Donovan
Boshoff on Twitter or X,
surname?
He says,
what surname that is, by the way?
Yeah, Boshoff. Yeah, Bosh. He says, was it fatigue? Did we think we had won the game by half time? I think that is it. And then we got that stun. We got stunned within that first 2 minutes of the second half. Obviously, a doggy making a slip up. A doggy's been getting a lot of stick. I don't even think. I think the whole team had a stinker in the second half, pretty much. I don't think you can then. I don't think it's fair, especially when we've got such a young team, to start sort of identifying individuals and blaming them for and holding them accountable for the defeat. Yeah. I think it's a team thing. It's a team spirit. You're one. We attack as a team. We need to defend as a team, and exactly. It's not. I don't think it's an individual thing. This is what's going to happen when you've got a really young side. We've got so much potential, and these slip-ups. A doggy. I know I'm going straight into a doggy, and I said not to. But the thing about a doggy that you got to accept, I think, is that he has all the physical attributes you need in a footballer, all the minerals. He's a genetic freak for one, for his age as well, but also he's so technical. He's such a gifted player. The thing that he'll learn in time is his defensive positioning, and he switches off in moments of the game, or a little bit of sloppiness, or he gets a little bit too comfortable. That will come in time. There's stuff you learn as you develop as a footballer, and where we play such a vulnerable system, you're gonna have moments of vulnerability and moments of sort of lapse in concentration from these defenders, and they're so young. I don't want to go too far into sort of blaming individuals or pointing out individual mistakes too far, because everyone does it. I mean, Romero, how many mistakes has Romero made this season?
It's not good enough.
No, it's not good enough. And he's the leader. He was the captain yesterday. Again, I don't want to go into the blame game, but I think we did think we'd won it, and then we just got stunned straight away, and then that we were up against it straight away, and I think that's when you need a leader to just step up. What the fuck happened? What happened in the second half?
I don't know. Like I said, you look at those. All 3 goals are avoidable. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If anyone's got the answers, please let us know.
Yeah. Billy Price on Twitter.
Yeah. This is such a hard podcast to do today, because it's just like I can't tell you what happened. I watched it with my own eyes, and I don't know. I don't know. Just shit the bed. I think he does. I think what he said was right. I think, what he was kind of getting at was right about the lack of desire and the lack of aggressiveness, and the mentality just wasn't there. You know, when he said after the City game, where he was like, "There's things." What did he say? What it was like about there's a fragility. The foundations are fragile, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like we can put the mask over it for a little bit, but it will rear its head at times, and it did yesterday. And I think that's what he's talking about. And again, obviously, that was in a completely different context, because it was around the City game, and there was a lot of emotion about that game. But yesterday, that was so really, really fragile from players that you don't expect to. Right, and the thing is, right, you're going to go away now. We've got an international break. We've got 2 weeks to fester on this. Thanks, Spurs, because that always fucking happens. Like, always get a defeat or something before an international break, and we've got to sit here for 2 weeks and just process what happened in that game. Yeah. The ironic thing is, and again, I'm not going to sit here and slag off a doggy, although he had a fucking mare yesterday. Van der Ven, again,
drop him. He needs to be dropped.
He's got go blood. Van der Ven had a poor game, but again, Van der Ven, that's probably the second bad game he's ever had for Spurs. You know, like
there's a question there. There's a question that sort of highlights why he had a bad game. We'll get onto that in a minute as well.
Romero and Porro, again, who I can deal with him getting done in behind by Matoma a couple of times. It's Matoma. Do you know what I mean? It was going to happen. I thought out of all the defenders, he could probably come away with his head held a little bit higher, and Vicario couldn't have done anything about those goals, right? Those 5 players, they're all going on international duty. So it's not as if you can sit down and just be like, we really need to fucking get into this and sort this out, and this needs to change, and the mentality has got to change. Look, I'm sure Ange is trying to work on this every day. I think that's the biggest task that he's got, to overhaul that at the club. Tactically, for the most part, was spot on. And like I said, those goals yesterday weren't down to tactical deficiencies or an exposing of the system or anything like that. The lazy nonsense narratives will come out again about Ange Ball and we're too open and all this and that and that. Bollocks. It's bollocks. All 3 goals yesterday are so avoidable. It's just unbelievably bad defending in those moments, especially for the first and the third goal. But these are international players. And this is why, like, I'm not going to go too deep on Van der Ven, although he's poor. I'm not going to go too massive on a doggy because he made 2 massive individual mistakes, which, again, and he's not been quite as good this season as he was last year. And maybe he's not the player that we think he is or whatever. Romero, I've been the biggest supporter and backer of this guy over the course of the last 2 years, and said that these narratives, these lazy narratives around him being rash and reckless are wrong. He's a very good defender. On the ball, fantastic. And those things are all still true. The lack of accountability for the captain in a defensive sense yesterday and so far this season, when you go back to the Leicester game, you go to the Arsenal game, that's your leader, that's your most experienced defender. It's piss poor. It's not good enough. Like, how did you want to just watch Welbeck head it into an open goal? I know Bentancur doesn't help him out. It's terrible from Bentancur as well, just to get there and bottle the chat. Just watch him. Everyone's just ball watching, and that's your World Cup winning centre back. and your 2 times Copa America winning centre back who's been linked with a move to Real Madrid. You're not going to get the move to Real Madrid if you fucking defend like that. Like that's unacceptable from him.
Yeah. I think this summer, I mean, we know Paul O'Keefe said that Real Madrid came in for him in the summer. I reckon Florentino Perez is just whispering dirty things in his ear constantly. Him and his agent just be like, fucking come to Real Madrid.
Reckon heads turned?
We need you. Run the contract down.
Yeah.
And I think he's playing like that, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's playing like like there's something in the back of his mind. Or I mean, yeah, and he's having like, I mean, that mistake against Arsenal, and then what he sort of came out with his excuse straight after the game was sort of like, it sort of encapsulates this sort of accountability problem. His excuse was, oh, they didn't. I had to find my own way back from Argentina. I mean, one, you're a grown man, but two, you're now a leader. You and Sonny are the main leaders in that dressing room. If you don't take accountability, then we are going to be in a fragile state, because you are a senior player now. You're a leader. You need to be the player that covers for people when they make mistakes, not to be the player that's making the most mistakes when you're. I don't know. It's frustrating. And come on, mate. Do you not know that we're fighting week in, week out for your name against Saliba? Have you not gone on X and seen everyone trying to argue against you?
Have you not seen the combined 11s?
We've got a reputation.
Yeah.
Stop fucking making the most stupid brain dead mistakes every single weekend.
Because you're making it hard for people like me, for people like Flav, for people like Seb, who have got to go in the firing line on fucking TikTok or Saturday Social or whatever and defend you, right? Sort it out. Fucking sort it out.
And now you're being overtaken by fucking Gabriel as well.
Yeah, that meathead.
Yeah.
I'm literally watching a replay. I'm watching the I'm literally watching a replay of the third goal back now. I'm just like, it's just.
Ben's about to start crying on live on there and doing.
You look emotional.
Billy Flores, time to get rid. Would you cash in on Romero in the summer? Yeah, this is very, very emotional and irrational.
Fucking get rid.
Are we selling Romero in the summer? Yeah, 80 mil offer comes in. You taking that?
Yeah, has to go, blood. Nah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But you can make a case for why people would take the money. Vuskovic scored 2 goals the other day. Get him in.
I reckon he's better than him. I reckon
Vuskovic looks a monster in
the head. Give him a chance.
If he saw Welbeck, he'd be like, fuck off.
I reckon the distance. I reckon the distance from Romero and Welbeck, he could have made up just in his, like, if he just bent his body. He's so tall, isn't he?
Yeah.
He would have somehow got his head on that. From the one highlight I've seen of him against a second tier Belgium side, like, he looks a player.
Yeah.
But Billy Price on Twitter, he says the second half yesterday clearly demonstrated the lack of leadership in a team when going gets tough. I mean, that's what we've been saying.
Spot on.
Had Son played and captained the side yesterday, do you think his leadership skills would have had a better impact on the team? As this was where I felt Romero came up short. I actually don't think Son would have done anything.
I agree.
Son's been part of this team for 8 years, and we've seen this trait for 8 years. I think it's a collective thing. But I mean, you look to your leaders in games like this, and when your leader's the one that's losing the player that scored.
The jewels and
making the main mistakes that lead to goals. That's where do you go from there? The one you look to is the one that's switching off the most. I mean, I don't know. I don't think someone would have done anything. But I think this is the thing. We're going to get to the DNA in a sec. I did pick up on a little something, and I'll lead this into the next question. But what happened? The where they were getting their joy in the first half, Brighton, was Mitoma. Obviously, because he's a brilliant player, but I did think there was an element of not shutting down the crosses quick enough, and Mitoma was playing with the intricate passing between Mitoma and that Caglioglu, what's his name?
Caglioglu, he looks decent.
From Fenerbahce. He looks really good. But that sort of like link-up play, it was catching us off. We were really struggling to deal with it, and we didn't close the crosses down. We were letting them get a lot of crossing in the box, and then we were losing our markers in the box. And there was little hints of what would happen in the second half. that we didn't really nullify quick enough. And then what happened in the second half was there was a lot of moves down either flank, and they really capitalised on us not getting them and closing down the crosses quick enough. And this leads me to this question. From Jackie in account, Jack Doyle on Twitter. With all the discourse around our dangerously high line being unsustainable, why can't anyone seem to acknowledge when we become passive and drop deep into our own half in the second half? We conceded 3. That was the opposite of the Ange ball that gets criticised so much. That's spot on. I don't know if I don't think that's a question really, but that is spot on exactly.
So right.
The thing is, that links to what Ange could have done differently. Because was it a loss on the players, the responsibility of the players on the pitch, or could Ange have impacted this? And I think he could have, because Brighton were pushing us. We've got the players to play a high line. Okay, sometimes that teams break us down and break through on the transition. But Van de Ven, the reason why we love him, the reason why he's so box office is because he is a high line type of player. He's fucking rapid. And the amount of times where there was a chance where Welbeck got through in the first half and Van de Ven just fucking got there before he even got in the box and clattered into him and won the ball. They forced us through the wing play. They forced us back into our own box. So what I don't understand was, because we didn't buy Van de Ven to be a box defender, because he can't actually. We actually know he's not that good in the air. That's not his strengths. He's a big player, but he's not that big in the air. And Romero, Van de Ven, they're perfect for the high line. Dragusin, he's probably best in a low block, sitting in your box. So what I don't understand is we weren't closing crosses down quick enough. I think Ange should have put him left back, Van de Ven left back. Taking a doggy off and Dragusin in the middle to just deal with anything that goes into the box, because we've got more of a chance of coping in those defensive scenarios than when we've got Van de Ven and Romero, because that's not their strengths. Their strengths aren't box defending. Their strengths is when there's spacing behind them to cover and to push and be aggressive, pushing high up into into the other team's half. And Dragusin, I think, would be able to deal with it. Plus, Van de Ven would be able to get to the crosses and stop them before they even come in. Where I think Porro and a doggy, they didn't have the best games defensively. I think they held off a little bit when it came to stopping and denying the crosses coming in. what do you make of that? Because that was just a thought I had.
I think that's a really fair point. I also think that the thing about us being too passive, like Jack said, there was a moment just before they scored that first goal. It's in the build-up to the first goal, actually, where Solanke goes to the ball gets played back to the Brighton goalkeeper, and Solanke goes to press, but he goes on his own, and nobody's backing him up, and then they're able to easily play out through that and play forward and score the goal. I think from the start of the second half, that sort of willingness to retreat and not and sort of just abandon our principles, for me, why it wasn't necessarily on Ange yesterday. And I do think he could have changed things quicker, like you said there. He could have made those tactical tweaks. I couldn't believe a doggy was still on the pitch. I thought Spence probably should have come on for him, or like you said, especially where they were kind of putting balls into the box. And Dragusin is good at sniffing out the danger in and around his box for all his faults, maybe on the ball or in transition, which is why Van de Ven's there. So you're spot on with that, I think. I think that Ange is, I think Jack's right. We were way too passive from the front to the back, and again, it starts from the front. The reason that Spurs have been so good, or certainly better than last season, I think, is that our press has been much more coherent, and we're not allowing teams to get to the point where Brighton were yesterday. We were suffocating them in their half, not allowing them to get out. That's why our field tilt numbers are so high, because we're playing the game in team's half. We're having a lot of the possession. We're winning the ball back, and then we're going like we did for the first goal. High turnover. Maddison a lot more aggressive out of possession, which is something I've been banging the drum for in terms of the improvement in his game. We didn't see that. Solanke can't do it on his own, and then they were able to just play through us and then work it from back to front. And as soon as you saw that, it was like, it's going to turn, and it did turn. And I think Ange's comments about the substitutions were quite interesting, because I'll try and find the actual quote, because it was a bit of an odd one, I thought. I don't know what you made of it, but I actually think that despite the fact that I don't necessarily think it's what fans wanted to maybe hear in that moment, because you probably want to hear your manager say, take a bit more responsibility and say, I could have done a bit better. He said that he got asked, were you tempted to make your subs earlier as the game was turning? He said, yeah, I could have, but all these things are totally irrelevant to me. Substitutions and all those kind of things. If you're not competitive, it doesn't matter what you do. You're not going to get rewards. You don't deserve to win. We didn't deserve on our second half performance, irrespective of subs or anything else, to get something out of the game. But I think if you do get something out of the game, you're falsely rewarded, and I don't want to get falsely rewarded. I mean, I would have liked to have been falsely rewarded with a couple of late goals yesterday, but I think what he's trying to do there, yes, I think he could have made subs quicker. I think he definitely could have done that, because at the end of the day, as the manager, that's your job to try and turn the tide if you're watching this all unfold. And he was getting a lot of stick yesterday for just standing on the sidelines and shaking his head. But I think he's trying to put the responsibility on the players to know that that was unacceptable and you can't get away with that. I think that's what he's trying to do there by trying to say those substitutions. To me, it's irrelevant because the players on the pitch weren't. I don't know. Like, I think he's just trying to put more responsibility on them. Rather than, I don't think he's deflecting the blame.
The players on the pitch were 2-0 up at half time.
Exactly. I think it's a message to the players. Like, I think that, like, for so long, I guess managers have taken responsibility and taken the blame away from the players. And look, I think I was very much like yesterday, for me, that's on the players. I still think it's on the players more than Ange, 100%. But I do think, of course, as the manager, you have to take a bit of responsibility. But I think what he's trying to do there is put that responsibility onto the players, because I think a lot of them have maybe had a bit of an easy ride for a long time. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But I think you're right in terms of we couldn't deal with the balls into the box, and we couldn't deal with being suffocated in our own box. And I think that's maybe where someone like Dragusin comes in and a doggy comes off, because a doggy was just really poor.
Yeah. Did you see Ange's comments as well? Like before the game, he was in a pre-match interview. I saw it on my timeline.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly word for what he said, but he was like, "We're going to entertain that." They said something about like how it could be like really transitional. We could get like caught back, and he was like, "Yeah, I know that's the way we are. We're going to entertain it," something like that. And then we obviously lose. It doesn't look good, but then again, that's Ange epitomised, isn't it? It's risk and reward, and I mean, we could have been about 4-0 up by half time, and that game's gone. I think that same game we win 4-0 at home.
Yeah, I agree. And also for me, like, I get why people are a bit like, again, a bit like the substitution comments, a bit like on face value. Well, if you're going to lost the game and saying that we're here to entertain and we're not really bothered about it being that open, obviously looks bad when you lose. But again, you can't. That it doesn't correlate to the goals that we conceded. We didn't concede because we were way too open. We didn't concede because we were too gung-ho and blasé and not being worried about being caught in transition. It's just the defenders not taking responsibility in those individual moments. And I think, and look, that's his job to change that. That is his job to change that. And I think behind the scenes, a lot of work will be done to change that. And maybe he could have changed it in the game. But I don't think you can pin the goals on, again, the tactics or the system, because those are the same tactics and system that put us in total control of the game in the first half, playing some of the best football we've played under him, against a tough side and an opponent away from home that we got battered by last year, albeit when we had a lot of injuries. But so, I get why people would be upset or frustrated by those comments, but I don't think they correlate to the reasons why we lost.
First half, we were hard as a rock, basically. And second half, we ran out of Viagra and we were fucking limp and soft, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much, That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. I agree. Well, what Matt's question, Matt Sipoiler or Kipoiler, he says that's just on Twitter. Matt's actually really nice.
Shout out, Matt.
He comments a lot. What is Ange's biggest weakness, area of improvement as a manager, in your guys' opinion? For me, is substitutions, decisions, time, and feel that he generally is way too reactive than proactive in that area. I think we covered that. But yesterday, he has got stick before about substitutions, but yesterday, again, it kind of just was on the players. I couldn't see, apart from what I've said about Dragusin, which I think needed to happen, and I think that would have prevented somewhat what Brighton were doing. I don't think any attackers could have come on and changed the game. And I mean, Mikey Moore struggled when he came on because we're putting him in an environment that isn't sustainable for him to flourish at a young age.
Yeah, you're asking a lot.
Because you remember when we were saying about Mikey Moore like coming in, we were going, we need to wait for the right moment when we're in a good, where the whole team's in a flow state. You've seen what happens when you throw him in the deep end when we're playing shit as a team
really hard,
and a unit. It's really hard for him to make an impact and flourish, and we don't want to put that on his sort of mental as he's coming into first team football, because we need him flourishing and we need him positive and confident, just like the team. And the thing is with the team, especially when we've got a young team, is we've got, I think, positivity and confidence is contagious, and the whole team is contagious. But as soon as that drops off, especially from the players with leadership like Romero, it's just as powerful, it's just as significant, it's contagious as well.
Yeah.
And the whole
yeah,
team.
if your leader's doing that, exactly. That's the example that should be being set, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I thought when we had a young team under Pochettino, I think our captain Lloris was the one that made the most mistakes. When we were cruising in big games, he would always throw the ball out or make a shit pass, and then all of a sudden we're under pressure, and that sort of sets the tone. You look to your leaders, and when your leaders are making mistakes, that's when it's so difficult to bounce back.
Speaking of goalkeepers, sorry, did you see that Paulo Gazzaniga saved 3 penalties in one game yesterday?
Yeah, I did see that. Bring him back.
Yeah.
We need a fucking backup keeper.
Yeah.
What has to be done to finally change this DNA, like in the club, then, of this sort of like bottle phrase that's been like thrown about? What does it come from personality, or does it sort of stem from the management of the ball? Because I think yesterday we were penetrated from the inside. Yeah, Daniel Levy's fault. Do you know why? Fucking let Hazler, what's his name?
Fabian Hester. Oh yeah, he let him come to training.
Fucking let Hester study Ange and see his weaknesses and his strengths and weaknesses, and if that didn't happen, we probably would have won that game.
What's the Benzema thing where he's talking about Rodrigo or Vinicius Junior? He's like, he's working against us. This guy,
on my mother's life, he's playing against us.
Yeah. I don't know how you change it. It's $1 million question, isn't it? With Spurs, it always has been. That's why, like, people will look at yesterday and always look at Spurs through the lens of being Spursy and being bottlers. And unfortunately, sometimes you can't shake that tag. And I think we've got the right manager to try and change that 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of managers have tried and a lot of managers have failed. I think Ange is capable of doing it. But I think the players have got to look at themselves. I think they've got to do. There's some soul searching, I think, to be done over this international break of just like, why does this happen? Because we've not, again, it's not like we've not done this under Ange. We've been battered, like we said earlier. We've not done this, you know. But again, with the Spursy tag, will always rear its head in some shape or form, and it very much did that yesterday. I think we've got the right manager to change it, but I don't really know exactly in terms of the nuts and bolts how you actually go about that. But I think he's referred to it a lot of times that's the main thing that he's working on. You know, he's trying to, but he's the one that wants to kind of, I think if any manager's going to have the best crack at it, it's probably going to be Ange. But that doesn't mean there aren't going to be more bumps in the road like this. It's just how you come back from them. And we've got a game against West Ham is the next one, which Saturday 12:30 at home against West Ham. Is that the game you want? Probably not. Our record at home against West Ham, especially when they've not been playing well, is bad. We never seem to. Oh god, yeah. As much as they tried to get rid of Antonio every summer, he's always there, and he's fucking there. He scored at the weekend.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, getting formed right in time, isn't it? Literally.
I don't know how we change it.
It's the thing is, you said something earlier. I was like, you need to work on this now in the international break, but everyone's an international player, so he's going to turn up and be like, right, Ryan. Yeah, Nick, we got a lot of work to do. Fucking Regulon and Spence are like, I'm ready, boss. Where do you need me? It's just like, oh, fuck off. And they're like doing their groin stretch.
Yeah, come on, boys.
He's like, fuck. I know. I mean, I don't know.
That's the irony of the whole thing, isn't it? These are fucking international players, and again, like they're young international players. And look, Porro. Although Porro got done a few times by Matoma, I kind of want to excuse him from a lot of this. To be honest, I think that he's been probably he's Mr. Consistent, I think, for Spurs, isn't he? Like, and again, he's going up against a world-class winger, in my opinion, in Matoma.
World class, you saying it? You calling it?
Maybe not world class, but a Premier League top class.
If he was at City, he'd be world class instantly.
Yeah, one of the best, 100%, a touchline winger. But fuck knows, because again, I look at those players. I look at Porro and I look at the way he fucking plays for the badge, and I look at Romero when things are going well, and the fact that he's fucking sliding into tackles and chest bumping people and fucking punching people in the head. I just don't, where's it gone? Where, again, chips are down, we fall apart.
Yeah. Everyone goes hiding.
Yeah, other than Kulusevski.
Kulusevski, I think Kulusevski he was showing for it.
He was.
Yeah, in the second half. Fair play to him. And again, he's a leader, and he was one of the players. I know he's 23, 24. He's someone you kind of have to look to because he'll get the ball and he'll drive forward and win fouls or try and make something happen. I think he leads by example. But the
Captain?
thing is, where he's yeah, put him in the leadership group.
Yeah.
All our teams in the leadership group now. But I think the thing about where Kulusevski plays is he's not part of that core. I mean, he is, but if you know what I mean, of the defense when we're under pressure, they're not going to start looking at Kulusevski for inspiration, are they? You need Romero to be the player you look to, the aggressor, the motivator.
Even when he's not wearing the armband.
Exactly.
Just at all
Because
times.
he's one of the senior players and he's won the fucking World Cup, Copa America twice. He knows how to win. So yeah, I don't know, but
right.
what I think we don't have enough personality in the team, but it's easier said than done because the players that bring the personality, I mean, they're going to be expensive, but maybe not. I mean, Vicario has an element of that. And he was 17 mil. But we need more game changers that can grab a game by the scruff of the neck when the going gets rough, and they get tough, and we need more. Yeah, we just need more game, like that personality to sort of pull us through. I'm trying to think of players that could fit the system that could sort of
Messi
boost us significantly. Maybe Messi, bring him back,
Mbappe.
bring him to the Prem for the first time ever. Do you remember us? No, we weren't linked with Messi, were we? Fucking hell.
Yeah, we were. We actually were. Yeah,
we were. No, yeah, we are. That is a memory. I don't know why. Was it
and
Romero's
Mbappe? Yeah, and Mbappe when it was like
because he was a free.
It was before he went to PSG, wasn't it? Obviously his contract was up at Barca. Yeah. Fucking hell, man. With Nuno as the manager.
Oh my god.
And then there was one tweet that came out when Mbappe was going to leave PSG, and it was like Spurs are interested in Mbappe. It was like fucking I'm interested in Dua Lipa, mate.
That's a fever dream. yeah.
It ain't gonna happen.
But I don't know. I think we need more personality in the team. I think the DNA changes with the players you bring in. You know how
totally.
You watch the overlap all the time, and they start talking about Cantona, the players like that. They come in and they raise the training levels. They raise everything. They're winners. They're battlers. They don't care if they even fall out with certain players.
Yeah,
they just want to win, and then it's contagious. And when we got a young team, we need to start implementing that now before it gets too late, and that becomes their DNA. We need to start training these habits, but it will take time, and that's the thing. This is the whole point of the process. So, last question, then, Ben: how far off are we from a completed project? And like, where did you actually expect us? Like, honestly, where did you actually expect us to be at the end of last season? So the season's just finished. We got Europa League. We just beat Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Away.
Yeah.
Kulusevski scored 2 from false 9.
What a player.
Where did you think we would be right now at that point last season?
It's really hard, isn't it? 7 games in. Do you know what? It feels a lot bigger than it is because it's like, how are we at the point where we've got 2 it feels longer into the season, I think, than it actually is because this is the second international break, which is fucking
crazy. We played more games as well.
Played more games.
Europa League.
Exactly, Europa League. And again, it's come at a bad time because it's like you really wish we just had some fucking farmers in the Europa League on Thursday that we could just be like, forget about Sunday, go and win. And it's
a rebound.
And the cycle starts again. Exactly. Just a little shag on Thursday in Europa League. Like
get that confidence back up.
Exactly. Yeah. Put on some aftershave, fucking put on a shirt.
Hit the gym once.
Yeah, exactly.
Got a little pump on.
Exactly. And then go, fucking come on then, let's have it. And then Spurs are just shadow boxing in the training ground right now. Hush. Get McGregor down there like he was fucking trying to kick the fuck out of Saka the other day. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah. I hate McGregor, but I was like,
ACL.
He's just kicked Saka. Yeah, ACL. McGregor's just done a fucking fat bump, and he's just like fighting Saka.
100%. But where did I expect us to be? I don't know. In and around the top 6 at this point, obviously. I mean, we're 10th, but there's 4 points between us and I think Villa, who are 4th or 5th, I think. So it's not the end of the world. 3 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses. 3 losses to teams that we all lost to last season, the corresponding results, which isn't good. Were we better in those games than we were last year? For the most part, yes, definitely. Have we learned anything from those games last year? Maybe not. But with the performances are getting better. It's just a gut punch. It really is a kick in the balls, this game, isn't it? How far are we off a completed project? Still a long way to go. Still squad building needs to keep carrying on in the same way that it has done. A few more experienced players in there, I think, are needed 100%. A few more. I mean, look at Villa and kind of the answers that they've got. I think it's, you know what? So I was going to do a TikTok video talking about this, about who's got the best squad out of the top 4 contenders. And I think what it really speaks to with certain clubs and what they've done, like Villa, I think are a good example of this, is that you're buying players that just don't, and Arsenal as well, with like when they've signed players like Timber and Calafiori, it's like these are players that just don't have to come in straight away. They don't. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And I think that we need to make more signings like that, where it's like, we're going to compete with you, but it's going to take a bit of time, but we're there. We're just waiting there. Timber, Calafiori, waiting there to play. You know, Villa players like Matson, players like that who aren't even playing yet. You know, they've got players, these sort of players that are just good enough to come in. That just, yeah, squad building needs to keep going in the way that it has. So we're still way off, but I haven't wavered. You know, I don't. You know, these conversations are always going to, or these questions are always going to come about after a loss like this. But yeah,
I think it's a good question to put to the viewers as well.
Yeah, let us know.
There into a community, like, where did you honestly think we would be? Because I can see either way. I can see people that could have seen the fragile sort of elements of us near the end of the season, because there were. It was for all to see, and I could see people that thought, okay, we need to kick on now. We're gonna have a really good summer, which we fucking didn't. We didn't have a really good summer.
No,
it was steady, but it didn't take us to where we wanted to be. I know we got Solanke, he's proven that he's a fantastic signing, but that it's not enough to compete with the people we want to be competing with. I mean, we've been eclipsed by Liverpool, who didn't even make a signing really. Not that we were ahead of Liverpool, we weren't, but that they look like they've just taken another leap without signing anyone really. And Slot has come in. I know, again, it's hard to judge the Marescas, Chelsea, Slots, Liverpool, because they could be having that sort of new manager buzz. But even Chelsea, you look at their squad now, and they're starting to trim the fat. They've started to get. Maresca's been pretty brutal with the large players they've got, and large amount of players. They're not like all obese.
yeah,
and I mean, they've got game changers. Palmer, Neto. They've got. I know we went for Neto and he chose Chelsea, but they have players that can grab games by the scruff of the neck. And I don't think we're there. We have that yet. So we're looking at our competitors, and all of a sudden it's looking rough. And these games are vital. We can't drop points in these games. So I get the frustration, but again, you can still see. You can see the minerals there, and that we are on the right path, that we are progressing. But if we finish 6th or if we finish 7th at the end of the season and we've played better, we have improved, but the competition might have improved as well along the way. Is that progression?
It's just no.
But that's where the board's let us down, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Big time.
It's so, the thing is, it's easy to come out and say that I've said it a lot of times. The league is so competitive, and it's more competitive than it's ever been. But you have to be competitive within that yourselves, and that's kind of where we've let ourselves down a little bit. So for me, that, you know, I've said it over a while. For next summer, I know it's always like, it seems like it's kicking it down the road, but there's no excuses for Spurs next summer. No excuses for Spurs whatsoever to not go out and buy.
That's the make or break in it for this project. I really think. Even January, see what we do in January. I know Yang's coming in, but let's not put any like.
Yeah, we've got to use that market wisely again. We've got to use that market wisely,
massively, and even be ruthless again. Maybe Richarlison sees how well we're doing with Solanke. Maybe he thinks, okay, it's time to like cash in on that Saudi offer. I don't know. I don't want to speak for him or anything like that, but we can't rely on him because he's not fit, and that's where we need to be smart with players we bring in. We may get a little bit of a cash injection from it. I don't know. I'm trying to think. We need a couple of players in January. We really do, just to sort of get the edge over our competitors. But next summer, it is make or break, because we will be left behind, or we can make those leaps that we need to make. And no excuses. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's got a bit negative. Get Levy out.
Get him out now.
Get fucking Poster.
Get imposter.
When's the protest starting again?
Yeah. Beldo's protest again. Fuck me. Part of me is happy that it's the international break, so we don't have to think about it for a while. But part of me is also.
Yeah, what are you going to be doing over the international break? I might get into another sport.
Yeah. Golf.
Yeah, mate, change your channel into a golf channel.
Yeah,
Everyone was so confused.
The switch up going to go crazy on the channel.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to go and play
To be
golf.
fair, you've been into other sports, though, haven't you? Golf, cricket, darts.
Yeah, well, cricket was shit.
I need to.
Shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, England.
I need to branch out because it's all on football and it's all on fucking Spurs, and
yeah,
I'm gonna start.
I might just support another team.
I reckon. Yeah. Well, Man City, like,
yeah, they good.
Right.
Well, I heard they.
Do you know what though? That's the thing
against the Premier League today. They back.
Did they?
Something. It was something to do with the sponsorships. I don't know if it's actually to do with the charges, but it's quite a significant thing apparently. So have a look on.
They got the best lawyers, but yeah, I mean, I went to a City. Sorry, just going off tangent to end the pod. I went to the City game, City Brighton actually at the Amex last season when City won like 4-0 without Haaland.
Yeah,
I was in the City end, and there wasn't one moment where you're thinking City looked vulnerable to score it, even when Brighton were on the attack.
Yeah,
but in a way, it made you feel quite. I mean, I'm saying this like I'm not a City fan, am I? But neither are the people that are sitting around me. But like I was, I don't know that it was almost a little bit. No, it weren't boring. I weren't boring because it was fun because Arsenal. It was like City and Arsenal to win the league, but I don't know. There was a part of me you never felt any jeopardy, but when we win Spurs, the euphoria around it and what makes us love Spurs even more is that they suck us back in because we know we can lose every game. We know we can win every game.
Exactly.
So where does the coin flip almost? So when we win, it just means so much more. But it just comes with so much pain. But it'll get better. I believe in the project. I believe in Ange.
Exactly. Yeah. Ange, take me with you, baby. I'm all in. Let's go.
Yeah, all in. Getting pumped up again. We got an international break.
Yeah,
everyone, legends. We are 300 subscribers away from 1,000. So if you enjoyed the episode, if you enjoyed the channel, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah. Can't imagine we're going to get any new subscribers off this episode. But
if anything, probably people are going to be unsubscribing. But yeah. But legends, if you made it this far after this loss, fair play. Like, pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
And we'll be back during midweek to discuss and Postecoglou sacking and Tuchel or Nagelsmann, who we're going to go for next.
Yeah.
But everyone, up the Spurs. Legends. Thanks for listening. See you later, Ben.
Quiz. Up the Spurs.
Quiz.